Hi everyone, this is Shweta, and as promised, we are going to discuss today RCM in our this part two session of our first recording, where we have discussed an RACM and overview. And now I am going to take you with some live examples. That is how we prepare exactly the RACM. So let's take an example. I have taken example of payroll management. So let's suppose there is a company XYZ Limited, and we are preparing RACM for the payroll process, payroll management. So here you will mention the date when this RCM has been updated, the responsible person, like who is responsible to prepare and update this RCM, and after that, these are the details which we need to capture in the RCM, and we will discuss one by one each of them. The serial number, then process details. So in the process details section, first we have to mention the process, second is the sub process, third is the process description, then document reference for that process like SOPs or policies, then particular department and function name for that particular process, who is responsible to handle that process. So since I have taken the example of this payroll management, so there I have mentioned the process. The process will be this payroll itself. So that's why I have not mentioned anything here. The sub process would be attendance and leave records. First will be this. Second will be preparation of salary registers. Third will be approvals, finalization of salary register. Fourth will be disbursement. Fifth is treatment in books of accounts. And sixth is tax treatment and related calculation. So this is how I have divided the process into sub process. So this sub process totally depends upon how what going on in a particular company or organization. So this sub process depends on that. So I have taken an example, so that's why I have divided it into six sub process, and today I'm going to discuss first sub process with some live examples on risk and controls. So let's suppose in a particular this XYZ company, this is the process description. As I mentioned in my earlier video also, we need to mention the process description correctly, because basis this process description only we have to map we have to jot down our risk and controls on it. So this process description is very important. And when I say process description, so you need to not be very you have to complete this or make a two-pager process description. You should be precise, and the information which is captured in this process description is based on your walkthroughs, be it process walkthroughs, be it system walkthroughs, or everything which is mentioned in their SOPs or policies. You don't need to replicate or copy it again in this RCM. What you should take care of is you should mention at least those pointers which is not covered in those process manuals and you came across you during your process walkthrough. So that is very important, which you should capture here instead of copying and replicating the manual here. So let's take an example. I have taken an example of a company where attendance was managed at two level, that is at zonal level and at branch offices. So company has some zonal offices, and they have pan India branch offices. So how they maintain their attendance is I have mentioned there. So you can see, for employees at zonal offices, attendance is recorded through card punching machine. The reports are extracted on a weekly basis and analyzed by HR. So this is the thing which will not be in any attendance or leave policy. So this is the process. This could be in the SOP, I agree, but would not be any attend in the any policy document. So the thing which you are आप जाके उसको go through कर रहे हो, process को देख रहे हो, that should be captured here. The process document which the company has drafted, or a company has have a very good process document, you are just replicating that won't create any value addition to this RCM. So exactly what you are viewing, what process you have evaluated or you have seen, that should be captured in this process description. So like I said, the company, this XYZ, maintaining attendance records at two level. First at zonal level. For zonal offices they have a card punching machine, because zonal offices is the corporate offices kind of thing, and there they can manage to have a proper punching machine over there. But at branch offices sometimes company has to rely on their manual attendance records, because it's not cost effective to have a card punching machine at every branch offices. So same in XYZ company, for field staff and employees at branch offices, they still have a attendance register manually. So when you said manually, so suddenly the risk and control related risk you will come up to your mind. So jot down those risks, because that is pertaining to this particular process. So that this is how you mention the risk. You don't need to mention the already drafted risk for payroll management or attendance management, like ghost employees and all those things. No, that would be a paperwork only. You need to mention the risk which is relevant to that particular process. So that is why this process description is very important. No, now the company is saying on a weekly basis, both the reports are shared with employees and their respective line managers for review and approval. So I have jotted down this process here. So if you'll see, for attendance, they have this process, and for leave, they have a separate leave management portal. So when I say leave management portal, it again click in our mind how the things are managed in leave management portal, how leaves are approved and all these things. So that has already been, if company has SOP or policy, that has already been captured in that particular document. So what we need to mention here is, all leave requests are managed through separate LMP. The portal is being managed by HR ops team. Now here you can elaborate, this can be elaborated more. क्या आप elaborate कर सकते हो, that I have mentioned here, how accounts are created on portal, process of deactivation account in case of resignees who all have admin rights to access LMP, appropriate authorization in place, process of review of logs on a regular basis. So these are the things like process of review of logs, appropriate authorization. This might have not been captured in any SOP. This would be covered in your system walkthrough, so that should be captured here. Again, every employee has its own unique login credential with limited access as per the requirement. Each leave request created in portal is automatically forwarded to so this is their attendance and leave management process, which I have mentioned here. So give you a brief idea what should be added in the process description. So now this is next column is document reference. So document reference will be with what all document you have referred when you have captured this process. So that could be your attendance and leave policy. Your UAM policy is user access management policy. I'll discuss later also. So, Abhi, with respect to this particular process, I have jotted down these two risks to elaborate. So, for this particular risk, since HR is the department and for this particular is IT, so I have mentioned the department and function name. Now, I am discussing the risk one. Risk one is risk that attendance and leave policy in place are not in compliance with applicable labor laws, which may lead to imposition of fines and penalties. As I said earlier also in my last video also, that risk is the risk should capture the impact and your probability. So here I have mentioned ki what could go wrong and up to what level it would be impacting the organization. So risk that attendance and leave policy in place are not in compliance with applicable labor laws, which may lead to imposition of fines and penalties. So this is the risk. So I am not that is why I have captured this I have not captured anything in this process description, like these much leaves are allowed, this is the bifurcation of leaves, this can be carried forward, this cannot be carried forward. That all will be part of attendance and leave policy. So हम इसको चेक कैसे करेंगे, दिस वुड बी अवर रिस्क फॉर दैट. एंड हम इस रिस्क को चेक करेंगे, तो जब हम इस रिस्क को चेक करने जाएंगे, हम ऑटोमेटिकली वो पूरा लीव एंड अटेंडेंस पॉलिसी को चेक कर लेंगे कि वेदर उसके लिए हमारे पास कंट्रोल प्रोसेस है या नहीं है. प्लीज keep in mind, we are internal auditors, we are auditing their internal controls. We are not here to vet and audit their this leave policy. We need to check whether that leave policy are in compliance with labor laws, whether appropriate controls are in place to ensure that leave policy or attendance policy or any policy has in compliance with applicable labor laws. So they, when we say that, when we mention that risk, we don't need to go through the whole leave policy to check the compliance. Yes, on a test basis you can do that to ensure that yes, control is in place, but the controls for that is, I'll discuss what the control for it. So this is how I mentioned the risk. Now risk rating, that depends on your organization structure, your organization capacity, and specifically, as I have told earlier also, especially depends on for what purpose you are preparing this RCM. So if you are preparing this RCM for IFC purpose, the risk could go to low. If you are preparing RCM for HR purpose, the risk would go to medium. So yes, obviously for this particular process, it won't go to high risk. But yes, if it's a non-compliance with labor laws or something, then it will go to high risk. So your risk depends on the control. So when we'll discuss the control, then you define your risk ratings. So is this a fraud risk? No, this is not a fraud risk. Control. What is the control to it? So control objective. So control objective would be the same, to mitigate the particular risk. So we'll mention the control objective to ensure compliance with applicable labor laws. Now what control description, like what exactly control in place to mitigate or reduce that risk. So in this particular company XYZ, which we have taken example of, in this particular company, what they are doing, all policies, including any changes in that particular policies, gets approved and vetted by legal team before its implementation to ensure compliance with labor laws, applicable laws and regulations. So this is the control with respect to particular risk. So here we need to check that all policies, when we are going to check this risk and control process, what we need to check, we need to check whether this control process which has been mentioned here is actually being followed, whether all policies have been gone through legal team, and whether legal team is competent to ensure that all applicable labor laws has been complied with when preparing this checklist. So how you can ensure that, you need to check what all team members, legal team members, how, whether they are competent, whether they are updated with the changes, relevant legal laws and everything. And then on a sample basis, you can pick up the leave policy or attendance policy, and you can check the compliances is as per applicable labor laws, like suppose the holidays, whether those holidays is as per the respective state laws, has been allocated to employees or not. So their allocation, leave allocation, so you were aware of what all things are there in labor laws and everything. So that can be checked on a sample basis, but that is not your testing point. Your testing point is the testing of control process, and here the control process is whether legal team is vetting or not, or whether that control process is appropriate or not. That also you have to check whether. So how you will check the appropriation? You have to check whether legal team is competent to ensure that these laws and regulations applicable to that particular industry, the legal team can, vet those. They are given training, proper training for that. So that could be your testing points. So you need to keep this in mind, that you are not going there to ensure and vet whether leave policy, each and every point of leave policies as per the labor law compliance, and you're ticking that. No, you are not doing that. So that is why I mentioned here risk rating. So this risk rating depends on your control description. So when control is in place, again the risk rating would impact. So if you have appropriate control in place, risk rating will go down. So as I said, generally we add, when we put this control details, we add control reference number, control objective, control description, and we mention only the control activity owner. However, my personal suggestion would be, you should mention the control activity performer also, because it will give you first the SOD compliance, that is segregation of duties. You will get some idea whether proper SOD is being followed here or not. Like suppose in this case, Control activity performer would be HR personnel, like policies will be prepared by the HR personnel, finalized by HR personnel. The control activity owner would be the legal team, because they need to vet that process. So here you can see there is a proper SOD mechanism, like the person who is vetting or approving the policy is not the maker of that policy, so so maker checker mechanism is in place. So this will give you a brief idea, brief hint whether proper SOD is in place or not. So that is why I would suggest that you should mention this separately: control activity owner and control activity performer. Thereafter, we need to mention control type. So there will be two types. First is preventive and detective, and second would be key and non-key. So when I say preventive and detective, preventive is we are the control is like that. It is preventing for something which could have which will happen in future. So it is a preventive control, and detective is which will detect after something or something has went wrong, and our control is like that is a detective control. So here, as you can see, since before implementation of any policy, the legal team is waiting whether it is in compliance or not. So this is a kind of preventive control. So before before going for any non-compliance, legal team is ensuring it. So that is why this is a preventive control, and I have mentioned preventive control over here. There is one example of detective. I'll discuss that. Control type, again, it depends on two aspects: for what purpose you are preparing, how big your organization is, their organization structure. It depends on those. So considering that thing, I have considered as non-key. Control method. So control method here, since legal team is vetting this through legal team personnel, there is no system in play system they are using. So the control method would be manual here. There is no supportive IT application, so any. Control frequency is as and when required. There is no defined control frequency, so we will mention as and when required. In case there is a defined frequency, you can mention monthly, weekly, daily, like this. Or if it is an ongoing, so you can mention ongoing activity. So since there is for this particular control, there is no financial statement assertions, we will mention any. For all these things, there won't be any financial statement assertions actually. So that is why I have mentioned any for all. So this is the first point, first risk I have discussed. Let's discuss the second risk. Now, when I'm saying the second risk, so as I said earlier, there could be two, more than one controls for a particular risk. So that is why I've taken this example. For this particular risk, we have two controls in place. So I'll discuss risk in here. We have discussed the process. Risk is risk of absence of effective user access management of LMP, that is leave management portal, may lead to unauthorized activities in the system, which could result in operational disruptions and data leakages. So with respect to that LMP, I have mentioned one risk that अगर LMP को लेके proper user access management नहीं होगा कंपनी में, so what will happen? Everybody, suppose more than one people have or two people have admin access rights, so they could create ghost IDs, and there could be chances of data leakages. So with respect to that, I have mentioned that risk. For this particular risk, there are two controls to it. Control number one. Control number one is so the our objective would be same: to avoid data loss and system description for both the controls. So first control is new accounts are created only after approval of appropriate authority as defined in UAM policy. So UAM policy is in place, and new accounts, whenever company is creating any new account, so that is being approved by the appropriate approving authority. So when you are testing this control, you need to check whether that appropriate authority has been defined properly, like who all have rights to approve the new accounts. That person should be the line manager, should be one person from IT, and one person from IT, which is leading that IT personnel. So two people from IT, and one should be from line manager. That should be the ideal appropriate authority which should approve that new accounts, because Line manager means under whom the hiring was happened, and yes, of course, the HR should approve whether should give a recommendation that new account has been is required to be created for this particular employee. So need to check whether all appropriate authorities mentioned um, is uh, is valid, is okay. You want to add some new appropriate authorities in this particular process, so that should be your checkpoint. Then now, who would be the control activity performer here? The IT personnel. Activity owner would be IT personnel head. Totally depends on company to company. Control type again, this would be a preventive control, non-key control. This is manual because approving authority is approving it, so there is no system involved. Supportive application here is LMP. Um, because this whole control and everything is for LMP, this leave management portal. Now again, the frequency would be as and when required, like whenever new joining would be happen. So this will be come into play, come into picture. So again, the financial statement assertions will be in it. Now for this particular, this is not the full control. Like this is only for the new accounts. What about the regular review of account, the resignees who have left the company? What about their accounts, whether that has been deactivated or not? So for that, there is a second control in place. Why I have mentioned these two controls in a separate column, because second control is not preventive control, that is detective control. So let me go through that. All access logs are reviewed on a weekly basis to ensure that existing user rights are as per the roles and responsibilities assigned, and accounts are deactivated of inactive or left employees. This is very important. Creation of new account, removing of existing account, that is part of regular process, which is very good. But this kind of thing is a detective control, like when you are reviewing it on a regular basis, the your access logs. So this is your detective control. So company is doing this, and that is why I mentioned this is detective. Like suppose on 1st of December one employee has left, but their account was not deactivated till 7th of December. Reason being, the person who used to handle these tasks is on leave. So or somehow this got missed. So when these access logs was reviewed on 7th of December, it will be, come into picture that this account has not been deactivated for left employees, and this has to be done. So this is very important. So suppose if that weekly process was not in place, so nobody would get to know whether all the accounts has been deactivated or not, whether existing user accounts are as per their roles and rights or not. So when existing user account was not as per roles and right, this there could be two reasons of it. Existing user rights got changed during the year. The person may get promotion, the person may be, shifted to another department, so accordingly their roles and responsibilities got changed. So according to their roles and responsibilities, whether user access rights has been properly altered or not, that has to be ensured. So for that, there has to be a review mechanism, an ongoing review mechanism should be in place. So that is why this second control is very important, and this is a detective control. So I have mentioned control type as detective control. Again, this would be a non-key, and yes, it's a manual control. Yes, you are using the report extracted from LMP portal, but the control method, like reviewing those control, is totally manual. The person sitting in IT department is reviewing it. So the control method is manual. So I have mentioned frequency as weekly. So IT system in support is LMP. So again, the आपकी financial statement assertions won't be fall here, because it has nothing to do with financial statement assertions. So these are some examples for RACM, like how you should mention your risk and how you should mention your control. As I said earlier, as I said in this video also, it is very important that whatever controls and risk you are mentioning is in line with that particular process of that particular organization. Don't go with fancy words or fancy lines of risk and control. Make your own risk, which you feel that has to be, there has to be a risk, this is the risk, and appropriate controls is in place or not. So go with these things. Don't just mention the risk which is irrelevant to that particular industry or organization. You don't need to make any fancy RCM, you need to make a relevant and appropriate RCM, which is very important. RCM nowadays is a very important thing, and I hope you guys well understood, and your queries are most welcome with respect to this RCM. Thank you everyone.